Well, I think they're the same thing. I think that setting up our office, the inaugural Office of Information Technology for the state of Alabama, and doing all of the statutory things that we were required to do, and do it with very high quality, and do it the way that we knew that it needed to be done, was very difficult, and I'm very proud of the way that we accomplished that. We had to do a number of things that were, part of the statutory requirements of the legislation that created our office. We also had a lot of activities going on that we felt like we needed to be very involved in, so it was a very busy year. We just produced our annual report, and we also produced a strategic plan going forward. The strategic plan and annual report were two of those statutory requirements, and I'm really pleased with the quality of the work that we did this past year. I think I have to give the credit for that to the people that we hired in our office that work for me. I'm very pleased with the quality of individual being able to attract to our office. We have 80 years of collective IT expertise, and what's interesting about that is everybody in our group that has domain expertise work their way up in IT, and so they've been there and done that, and so it's a great group, and I feel very fortunate to get a chance to work with these folks. Well, that's a great question. Our governor has this saying that if city, county, state, and federal government continues to all do the same thing, we're all going to go broke. I think that's a great quote. And so we have to do more together, and the best way to work together is to collaborate. And what does that mean? Well, it means that we have to be willing to want to work together. And I think that the secret is to start with a dialogue. Most things that happen that are meaningful start with a conversation. Somewhere along the way they have, I think, constructive debate as a component of them as well. But I think that our office is a great example of how that can happen, because our jurisdiction doesn't cover all of state government. And so, but we frequently collaborate with people within state government that we don't have jurisdiction over. And that's been a great success, and I'm very proud of that. And it all, goes back to people wanting to work together to try to accomplish a common objective, and doing so by trying to focus on what they can do and rather than what they can't do. Well, that's an easy one for me. I'm very passionate about analytics. And I think that one of the things that I'm struck by coming into state government is how hard people work. But I think that hard work and the fact that so much of our day-to-day activities are not automated makes people maybe not look up enough and to think about what success is. And I think that we are on the verge of a renaissance in state government where we can start to talk about sharing data, and sharing data across different agencies, sharing data across different programs. And then when we apply analytics to those different opportunities, what it'll do is it'll help us go from asking the question of what happened to transforming through that continuum of getting to the point of what could have happened and what success is and how do we measure that. It's part of a mindset of not talking and thinking about activities, but rather thinking about outcomes. Because at the end of the day, the people who have invested us with the authority to do our jobs, the citizens of our states, they're the ones that only really care about outcomes. And I think that we're, globally within the IT state domain and IT government domain, with we're poised to do a good job with that going forward here. You hear more and more people beginning to have the conversation about governance, and that governance conversation is where that starts. And a lot of people don't understand what governance really is, and governance always starts with a conversation, but at the end it includes you and I and all the people at the table agreeing what we're going to do and holding each other accountable for that. And I think that you're hearing more and more of that, and we have some leading opportunities to do that in Alabama right now. We're going to try to take our successes and try to leverage those and see if we can't push the envelope in trying to collaborate and make analytics a part of how we run the state of Alabama. We have started multiple statewide initiatives, and they're just getting going now. We're putting in an upgrade to our financial system. We're installing Advantage ERP, which is a product that's published by CGI, and it's a modular integrated ERP for government. And that's going to be the first time that we really have introduced cross-agency technology in the state government in Alabama for a very long time. So it is a Herculean change management responsibility and task ahead of us. It's multi-year. It'll take 3 years to put the whole thing in. And so we're in the early stages of blueprinting that project right now. In association with that, we're also going to be putting in a time and attendance system that'll plug into the HR components of the ERP system, as well as an employee portal. And so that's a lot to do, and it's gonna, 3 years are gonna fly by. And so we're very excited about that. It is a great opportunity for us, and we're looking forward to it. But that's gonna be front of mind for us going forward. The system that I mentioned before, where we're putting in new ERP, is an important milestone for us. The state of Alabama has done a really good job in trying to make each agency focus on being as efficient as it can be. But you get to a point where you can't change the business processes that are in each agency that are common across all agencies unless you change them all at one time. And so that's why we need to redo our financial software and eliminate as much manual activity as we can in state government. The governor and the legislature in Alabama have put a program together to save $1 billion in cost. That's a big number. We think there's another big number that's available, particularly through automation of the business of government day to day. And that can't be done unless you look at those common business practices that kind of go across all these agencies, and it may be a significant portion of one agency and a small portion of another agency. But in order to change that, you have to change it for everybody at one time. It's a wonderful opportunity for us to standardize things, and it's an opportunity for us to not only standardize from an information technology perspective, but also from a business process perspective as well.